also me. In my Father's house and in mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself. That's where I am. There ye may be also. And whither I go, ye know, and the way ye know.
It's about time, man, because I'm ready to go home. I'm ready to get the kingdom. I'm ready to live. I'm ready to breathe fresh. I'm ready to have beautiful, pure women, okay? Not no strawberry hollows on this side. I'm ready to have children, man, you can vibe with, okay? Be around brothers. Be around the Lord himself, okay? I'm ready to go and visit places in the galaxy that we didn't know exist. All right? I'm ready to walk on sandy beaches, man, and explore the ocean floors. I'm ready to fly, okay? I'm ready to eat real food, okay? I'm ready to drive a chariot, man. All right, I'm ready to minister to the Lord and to be ministered to, man. Okay, I'm ready to worship Yahweh in its full entirety. Okay, I'm ready for it. We're ready, man. I'm ready to see angels and greet angels.
But as it is written, eye hath not seen, nor ear heard, neither have entered into the heart of man the things which God hath prepared for them that love him. But God hath revealed them unto us by his Spirit. But as it is written, eye hath not seen, nor ear heard, neither have entered into the heart of man the things which God hath prepared for them that love him. But God hath revealed them unto us by his Spirit. The Spirit itself beareth witness with our spirit that we are the children of God. And if children, then heirs, heirs of God, and joint heirs with God. If so be that we suffer with him, that we may be also glorified together. For I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. For the earnest expectation of the creature waiteth for the manifestation of the sons of God. For the creature was made subject to vanity, not willingly, but by reason of him who hath subjected the same, in hope, because the creature itself also shall be delivered from the bondage of corruption into the glorious liberty of the children of God. For we know that the whole creation groaneth and travaileth in pain together until now. And not only they, but ourselves also, which have the first fruits of the Spirit, even we ourselves groan within ourselves, waiting for the adoption to it, the redemption of our body. I will declare the decree. The Lord hath said unto me, Thou art my son. This day have I begotten thee. Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. Thou shalt break them with a rod of iron. Thou shalt dash them in pieces, like a potter's vessel. Be wise now, therefore, O ye kings. Be instructed, ye judges of the earth.
All right. Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem, Rakakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to us younger brothers, and peace and blessings and salutation to the hopeful elect out there pushing his word and truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem, Rakakwadash, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful elect, the believers, the listeners whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashim Shai. All right, so what we're going to get into this morning, all right, this morning news and prophecy, all right, is dealing with the battle for the Straits, okay, and more. All right, and I found that piece I was looking for yesterday, dealing with damage, that's being done, okay, to American assets in that region, okay, and then you have America has struck bridges, okay, in Iran. So they're now, you know, uh, striking critical infrastructure in Iran, okay, and these things are just going to escalate. Like we said, if they started back this tick and tack, they just picked up on this same escalation letter, that they left off from, showing you that this prophecy in motion, okay, this is not just a random thing that's happening. All right, this is prophecy playing out real time. Now let's get uh a few precepts and then got a few videos to go into. But when you go into let's get this here with Isaiah 46 and 9, because the Lord shows himself through prophecy. Okay. That's how the Lord shows that he is, by speaking these things, having these things written down, thousands of years ago, and then have these things play out exactly how he said they will play out, you know. When you go to Isaiah 46 and 9, so remember the former things are old, for I am the most high, and there is none else. I'm the most high, and there is none like me. Okay, and what you have, Esau was trying to imitate the most high. Okay, but what we're going to see, the ambition of Esau is going to be destroyed through prophecy. You see, what Esau wants to happen is not going to happen. But what the Lord wants to happen, that's going to happen. And that's going to be the Lord showing that he is. Okay? Because Esau has this agenda, to set this technocracy up, to tap into immortality through technology, to be the most high through technology, to have this, system set up to where, there's these permanent oligarchs, and this permanent underclass. And, nah, man, all this not going to come to pass. He's going to get to a certain point, and the Lord's going to show that he is. And this war plays a major part of the Lord showing that he is, because the war ushers in Yahweh Shai. Okay, and this is why we follow these things, because it's a build up to Yahweh Shai, man. That's why we're so in tune and intrigued by these things, because it's a build up to Yahweh Shai coming, all right, and putting Esau down, putting the heathen down, okay, us being changed, the new bodies, in this current empire being completely destroyed. All right, verse 10 said, declaring the end from the beginning and from the ancient times of things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure, man. So we're watching the Lord do his pleasure in the earth. Okay, and he had these things written down, thousands of years ago. You look at Ezekiel 38, that was written during the time of the Babylonian Empire. You see, that was written during the time of the Neo-Babylonian Empire, and that alliance is speaking today. It's coming into fruition today, and that's the Lord showing that he is. John the Baptist, that was during the time of Pax Romana, when he seen the vision of the microchip, the MOTB. Okay, you see that was during the time of Pax Romana. You see, when he seen that vision, and now it's playing out exactly how the Lord say will play out, because that technology is linked to what? Buying and selling. It does more than that, but a great indicator of this technology is that it will be used to buy and sell. You know, the Spirit had John to leave a major, all right, clue about this technology, man. All right, that's a major note that he wrote down in the Spirit to where we can identify this technology, man. You see, and these are the two prophecies that we're tracking in these last days, because within the MOTB, you're going to get Jacob's trouble and civil unrest. Because before he mandates it, he wants to create desperation. Okay, so that's where you're going to get your Jacob's trouble, your civil unrest, your pestilence. Okay, your tribulation. You see, so we track, these two prophecies, the MOTB and and this third world's war. Okay, because they're all escalating the same. The more this devil, rolls out the MOTB, the more this war escalates. He can't separate the two. Okay, they're both all right. They're both paths that lead to Yahushua. You see, so this devil, okay, he's in this escalation trap. And there's nothing he can do, all right, to turn away, all right, to stop, all right, the prophecy from being fulfilled. Eventually making. I'll go here to 9. Is the story of Jacob. Okay, and see it's centered around these two nations. Matter of fact, real quick, let's get this in Hebrews. Then we'll get that in Romans, the 9th chapter. Okay, when you go to the book of Hebrews, chapter 11 and verse 20. All right, it said, by faith, Isaac blessed Jacob and Esau concerning things to come. And what was Esau blessed with? He was blessed with gain, the fatness of the earth through the sword, and he will maintain his prosperity through the sword. Okay? But then you had Jacob that was promised an everlasting kingdom that will come, all right, at the end of Esau's kingdom. You see? So you look at the events that's happening in the planet Earth, okay, it's centered around the characters of Jacob and Esau. That's why in these last days, the Lord had us to awaken in the end of this man's kingdom. You see? And the Lord had a perfect time. He had it set up for a perfect time for us to awaken at the end of this man's kingdom, because now we're in a transition of power. Okay, now we're finna go from the blessing of Esau, which is to rule the earth through the sword, to the blessing of Jacob, which is to rule the earth forever in righteousness, man. You see, so we woke up, we awakened in the middle of a transition of power. You see, the Lord had this thing mapped out from the beginning. And it was prophesied that we will wake up. Okay, so now what we're getting ready to see is the Lord is getting ready to take down an empire. Okay, and so we're living in the takedown of an empire, man. All right, and the Lord has this war. The Lord kindled this war to begin that takedown. You see, as Esau, his ambition is to, establish, to do a global reset and establish a new world order. Well, no, the Lord, all right, has an agenda that's beyond, all right, the ambition of the elites. Okay, and that's to eventually establish Yahushua as the King of Kings in the earth, man. Okay, the first fruits, 144,000, to be part of that governing body, and the rest of the 1/3, men, women, and children, that's allotted for salvation. Okay, when you go to Romans, the 11th chapter, no, Romans, the 9th chapter. So that's why I want Romans 9. Okay, and why does the theme of Jacob and Esau? It's all throughout the scriptures, man. Okay, when you go here, this is Romans 9 and 11 said, "For the children being not yet born, neither having done any good or evil, that the purpose of the Most High according to election might stand, not of works, but of him that calleth." Okay, for the children being not yet born, neither having done any good or evil, that the purpose of the Most High according to election might stand, not of works, but of him that calleth. Yeah, so dealing with how the Lord set this up between Jacob and Esau, even before Esau had done any wickedness or Jacob had done any good, it was already established, all right, that Jacob was going to be the chosen, all right, because he was chosen from the beginning, even before the actual birth of Esau and Jacob. Well, the lineage, okay, of Jacob was chosen from the beginning, the sons of God, okay, because Jacob is that lineage, that goes all the way back to Adam, the sons of God. You see, and then you have Esau, all right. His line is the rejected line. It comes from Adam, but it's the rejected line of Adam. Lamech, Tubal, Cain. Okay, you see, that's the rejected line of the Most High, man. And then as we know, okay, Cain and Abel, will come back as Jacob and Esau. Okay, and just as Cain was rejected, you see, for his unlawful sacrifice, well, Esau was rejected, man. You see, and just as Abel, all right, was accepted because his righteous sacrifice, well, Jacob was accepted, man. You see, because Esau he's a reject lineage, man. Okay, and the Lord is finna address, all right, this reject. You see, Romans 9:12, it was said unto her, the elder shall serve the younger. See, how is this going to happen? Through prophecy. Okay, because when this war, all right, when the smoke settles in this war, you Edomites will be in captivity. Okay, the grand finale of this war, all right, Yahweh Shai, okay, is going to put down all heathen authority, okay, destroy all heathen militaries, okay, and you Edomites and you other nations are going into captivity. But dealing with Jacob and Esau, the elder shall serve the younger. Well, the Lord is setting the stage up for that prophecy to be fulfilled. They haven't been fulfilled yet. As it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. And see, we're really finna see the hatred that the Lord has for Esau. It's finna be on display for the world. And it's beginning now. That's why Esau is looking tacky. He's being embarrassed. Okay. You can tell these niggas on the back foot, certain things ain't, because the Lord's finna embarrass Esau, man. Okay. This is what we're finna see. The Lord's finna show the world that he hates these Edomites, man. Okay. So let's jump down. Verse 17. It says, for the scripture said unto Pharaoh, even for this same purpose have I raised thee up, that I might show my power in thee, and that my name might be declared throughout all the earth. Okay, so the Lord has lifted Esau up to make a name for himself. Because how is the Lord known? When you go to Psalms 9 and 16, how is the Lord known? Okay, how does the Lord get a reputation for himself in the earth? This is Psalms 9 and 16. The Lord is known. All right. The Lord Yahweh by Shema Shai is known by the judgment which he executed. The wicked is snared in the work of his own hands. Yeah, Esau is in the snare. He's entrapped himself. His ambition for the new world order has trapped him into, all right, the prophecy of his own destruction, man. The Lord set this nigga up for failure. Okay. The Lord knows that Esau is a proud, ambitious nigga, man. Yeah, like the brother said, Esau was born to lose. He's a born loser, man. You know, that's a lesson within itself. Let me write that down so I don't forget it. Yeah, Esau is a born loser, man. Okay, and we're in the time where this nigga finna lose. So I got a few videos I want to get into. All right, speaking with how things are going, with this current back and forth. You see. um, so yeah, let's go from there. Let's let's play this.
Strategic defeat in the greatest armada in the history of Star Wars in a little over 2 months. Who could possibly imagine this only a few months ago? And that's exactly where we are.
The primary targets.
99% of law firms have no idea how to allocate their money to build the law firm.
Were not just any military installations. They were the logistical arteries that keep the American war machine pumping. Reports confirm that the Iranian drones struck facilities belonging to Halliburton, the American oil services and logistics giant that holds billions of dollars in U.S. government contracts. Halliburton is the lifeblood of the U.S. military supply chain in the region, and by hitting them, Iran sent a clear message. We can sever the head of your operations whenever we choose. But Halliburton wasn't the only target. The Kuwait and Gulf Link Transport Company, better known as KGL, which holds hundreds of millions of dollars in U.S. military contracts, is also located in the same compound. This company is responsible for heavy lift transportation and distribution of food and supplies to American military bases across the Persian Gulf and the wider Middle East. By destroying these logistics hubs, Iran has effectively paralyzed the American ability to sustain its occupation forces in the region. The sheer scale of this operation is breathtaking. NASA's FIRMS, the Fire Information for Resource Management System, which uses satellite imagery to detect thermal anomalies and active fires, confirmed a massive blaze in the industrial town of Al-Shuaiba in Kuwait. And let's talk about the so-called fatigue on the side of Yemen. The Yemeni army...
I'm going to go here too, because like I said, America is losing assets quickly, man. You see? Like the things that they're striking, is destroying America's ability to wage war in their region. Okay, and this will cause America to tap out last time, and then they've been sucked right back into it because it's the Lord that's keep throwing America back into this thing, man. Because the Lord has a purpose for Babylon. Okay, so this devil is rolling out his new world order. The Most High is rolling out his destruction, man. Okay, but I don't know why I jumped, but go back a little bit. Because they saying over 200. There's rumors that there's over 200 soldiers that was killed in Kuwait. 200 American soldiers, man. But you're not going to hear that on the mainstream media.
Shelters in Kuwait, with staggering preliminary figures.
The trauma.
Pepe Escobar, the legendary Brazilian geopolitical analyst known for his unflinching takes on the empire's overreach, has dropped a bombshell that the corporate media is either downplaying or outright ignoring. According to reports circulating in alternative and international media, the latest wave of Iranian strikes has obliterated one of the major troop shelters in Kuwait, with staggering preliminary figures suggesting that at least 200 American soldiers have been killed and as many as 15 others are critically injured, fighting for their lives in military hospitals across the region. While Western outlets and the Pentagon are desperate to spin this as a minor skirmish, the reality on the ground tells a completely different story. Videos have emerged from the scene, grainy, chaotic, but undeniable, showing Iranian Shahed 136 loitering munitions diving with terrifying precision into the heart of the American logistical hub. The footage shows interceptors firing desperately into the night sky, but doing little to stop the swarm of incoming drones and missiles. It was a devastating, coordinated assault.
Now, Kuwait, you have reports of 200 American soldiers they were unalive, in 15, trying to recover. Report that happened in this hotel. Um, one more video I had. Oh, here we go. Yeah, so let's play a little bit of this. Okay, so you got reports that it was some top officials, in this hotel. I want to say it was Dubai, and they got hit, and they're saying there's a possibly over 60 U.S. personnel was killed at the Crown Hotels in Amman. Okay, Amman in Dubai. So let's play this.
Oman, which was housing American military personnel. Satellite imagery. American military. A man known for his blunt assessments and deep understanding of military affairs, revealing that there is considerable panic inside the Pentagon. According to McGregor, the source of this panic is the confirmed strike on the Crown Plaza Hotel in Duqm, Oman, which was housing American military personnel. Satellite imagery has now confirmed that Iranian drones struck the roof of this hotel in what is being described as a targeted assassination operation. The outcome of this assassination remains unknown, but the mere fact that such a strike could be carried out with impunity against U.S. forces sheltering in a Gulf state has exposed the complete failure of American force protection in the region. This comes on the heels of the most intense day of renewed U.S. attacks across Iran, a day that...
And if you're a part of the American military, the American personnel, you're just a sitting duck. Okay, America cannot protect its troops in their region. Okay, so if you're a part of America, all right, military personnel in this region, you're just a sitting duck. It's just a matter of if Iran wants to strike, and cause casualties, man, they can cause casualties at will. You see, Iran really ain't put the foot on the gas. Okay, but they could have crazy casualties overnight if they wanted to. Okay, but they leave room for escalation. So as America continues to escalate, Iran gonna continue to escalate. But when you look at it, Iran has a higher escalation ladder because they can do far more damage, okay, to American personnel in their region. You see, that's why you hear these analysts talk about how Iran has the escalation advantage because they can go farther. Okay, they can really affect all those GCC nations. If America really taps into, the water and the electricity of Iran, well, Iran can do that to 7 different countries in their region. Okay, including Israel, a small hatch. They can turn the lights out in the state of Israel. Okay, and Americans know this. That's why America, they're not, they're striking, but at the same time, okay, they know that Iran can escalate this thing way farther. Okay, just in conventional war. All right, so let's go from there. And I want to get this video because this breaks down what we see happening and how, Iran is fighting this war. Okay, now when you go into you go here. Now this is a pretty good video. I'm gonna leave the link to this one in the description, but he's gonna go into it. And then I got another documentary of Rogers I can do hopefully next week sometime, dealing with some more history. It goes all into, Russia, going back to the 1800s. And it makes a lot of things make sense today. So we can get into that next week sometime. But let's let me paste this. Let's play this one. He's gonna sum it up. All right, particular things that we see happening. All right, so let's play this.
Iran has defeated the US empire and humiliated Israel. They did what no one thought was possible.
And we know this is just the beginning of the war. You know, this is just the beginning. You know, so in the opening stages, you know, Iran, you know, has systemically, you know, defeated the American military. Okay, because what we're seeing from America is just desperation now. Okay, there's really, you know, because all their options are bad, and that's the Lord that got it set up like that. You know, the least are taking this opportunity to do a global reset and roll out this new world order. Okay, but the Lord, all right, has started an escalation ladder, an escalation trap, which is going to lead to the coming of Yahushua. You see, so there's no good options for America, man. Okay, and there's no good options for the elites. Okay, because because the elites only have, you know, really one move is to make this MOT mandatory. You know, to wreak havoc on the American society, on the American population, and to make this MOT mandatory, man. Okay, and then they're done. You know, because after that, that opens up the door for the war to go nuclear and the return of Yahushua, which is the end of the elites rulership, man. End of the elites global, okay, empire, man. You know, which they've been running through America. You see, the American system, you know. So let's play this.
Forced the largest. Iran has defeated the US empire and humiliated the largest military empire the world has ever seen to the negotiating table.
The Iranians, very smart people. They're sort of primitive genius.
This is the story of how it happened and why the world as you know it will never be the same again. Between 1776 and 2019, the United States carried out over 392 military interventions worldwide. Yes, they failed to win in Korea. They stumbled and fled in Vietnam. They spent trillions only to be worn down and forced out of Afghanistan. They left Iraq fractured but still standing in their wake. But those were peripheral, slow-burning counterinsurgencies on the edges of the empire. But what happened with Iran in 2026 is an entirely different category of collapse. The empire has never faced a systemic defeat like this. It has never been fundamentally broken, outthought, and humbled on this scale. For decades, Washington and Tel Aviv spoke of Iran not as a country, but as a target, an inevitability on the neoconservative hit list. But in 2026, the unstoppable force met an immovable object. And what the world just witnessed wasn't just a military stalemate, it was the moment the US empire was defeated and the myth of Israeli military invincibility was permanently shattered.
Websites your competitors don't want you to know, part 2. All you do is go to this website. And it lets you find out exactly how much your competitor.
If it weren't for me, Israel would not exist today.
How did a nation completely suffocated by Western blockades managed to outmaneuver, outlast, and ultimately break the political will of the most heavily funded military alliance in human history? Let's look at the numbers. Iran didn't try to build a stealth fighter to match the American F-35. Instead, they saturated the skies with the Shahed drone series, built using commercial, off-the-shelf parts. Total cost to assemble, roughly $20,000 each. And this is where the financial trap snaps shut. To shoot down a $20,000 drone, US and Israeli forces were forced to fire Patriots, Arrow 3s, and THAAD systems. Each one of those interceptor missiles cost between millions to destroy thousands. And worse than the financial cost is the stockpile cost. First, the slow drone. Which Western intelligence agencies knew nothing about. US soldiers evacuated their bases in the region in terror. But Iran's asymmetric strategy understood that the modern Western soldier carries a tracking beacon right in their pocket. Iranian intelligence managed to track the personal iPhone data of US military personnel. Iran was able to target US soldiers right in their hotel rooms. To make these precision strikes completely unjammable, Iran shattered the ultimate Western monopoly, GPS. Tehran integrated a multi-system hybrid architecture using Russia's sky. The United States lost between 24 and 30 MQ-9 Reaper drones above Iran. With the Yemeni armed forces, that number climbs to an astonishing 51 downed Reaper drones. Look at the ground.
And you see you see Russia and China, okay, are heavily assisting Iran in this campaign. And that's why we see, Iran strike package is so precise, because they have Russian and Chinese intelligence, and they've been able to bypass, the cyber, warfare of America. Because there was a time when America could get control of Iranian drones and make them land in the middle of nowhere. Okay, and Iran could do that to America too, because Iran did that to America under the Obama administration. It was a drone on its way to Afghanistan. All right, but Iranian, military, hacked it and made it land in Iran. Ever since then, Iran has been having some of the best drones on earth. When they got hold of American reconnaissance drone that was on the way to Afghanistan, but they made it land in Iran. You see, they re-engineered it. They studied the engineering. Okay, Obama, Obama gay ass was begged for it back, and Iran sent him a a toy drone. It was a pink toy drone, because that was during the time when Obama, when he made the alphabet, the same-sex marriage legal. Okay, but yeah, they sent him a pink toy drone, when he asked for it back. You see, but ever since then, Iran drone technology been, off the chain, because even Russia get a lot of their drones from Iran. So let's play some more. He's gonna go up, so let's play some more.
Iranian precision salvos bypassed regional air defenses to successfully strike over 200 specific targets. Billions of dollars in physical destruction ripped through at least 20 US military facilities across 8 different countries.
I guess my biggest surprise, almost immediately, missiles were flying at these 5 other countries. I said, why is he doing it?
For the first time since the Vietnam War, the US military was forced into humiliating, hurried evacuations of personnel from several peripheral bases. But for Israel, the blow was existential. And yet, Iran's most devastating weapon wasn't even kinetic. It was geographic. By shutting down the Strait of Hormuz for nearly 4 months, Iran triggered what economists are now calling the third oil shock. This single corridor controls 20% of global petroleum and 25% of liquefied natural gas. The world lost 1.15 billion barrels of oil supply. It culminated in an admission of absolute desperation from Donald Trump himself.
If we keep bombing, those ships won't be going. And you're talking about $500, $600, $700 million a day. Also, we run out of reserves in about 4 weeks. There are reserves all over the world, and we would really run out.
Western analysts talk about this as if it happened overnight. It didn't. This was a 40-year project engineered by men whose names are rarely spoken in the West. First, Hassan Tahrani Muqaddam, the father of Iran's missile. 40-year project engineered by men whose names are rarely.
Now, all right, you look at these photos of all these young Iranians, and this was during the time, they was at war with Iraq in the 80s. Okay. Well, now all these men are the leader of the nations now. They're the leaders of Iran now. Okay. The parliament. Okay. Even Mashtaba, all right, the current supreme leader, he fought, alongside these men. Okay. Our Iranian government structure is completely different from this clown show in America. Okay. Of pedos and Satanists, man. It's completely different. Okay. These are war-hard men. You see these Iranians hop out them jets, them diplomats in them black suits, like them guys, all them men come from the trenches, but going back to the 80s, like they fought a war when America was funding Iraq. Okay. And they ain't have nothing but what they could make, in-house. They wasn't getting weaponry from anything outside, so they had to come up with their own engineers and their own weapons, which he's going to get into it, man. All right, so let's play this a little more.
Barely spoken in the West. First, Hassan Tahrani Muqaddam, the father of Iran's missile program. During the 1980s, Iran watched as Western-backed Scud missiles rained down on its cities. Iran had 0 long-range weapons to strike back. Muqaddam vowed that this would never happen again. In 1984, he took a small group of 13 men to Syria to learn the basics of Soviet rocketry. He sourced blueprints from North Korea, pioneered the reverse engineering of Scud tech, and built a completely self-sufficient domestic missile infrastructure. He even traveled to Lebanon to personally lay the foundation for Hezbollah's rocket units. Then came his operational mastermind, Amir Ali Hajzada. Hajzada took Muqaddam's technology and scaled it to industrial levels. He is the man who built Iran's famous missile cities, vast concrete labyrinth networks buried hundreds of meters beneath rugged mountains. These aren't just storage closets, they are self-contained assembly lines and launch tubes completely shielded from Western satellite surveillance. Hajzada was assassinated by an Israeli strike in June 2025. Tel Aviv thought his death would paralyze the network. They fundamentally misunderstood what he had built. Hajzada and former IRGC chief Mohammed Ali Ja'fari had perfected what is known as the decentralized mosaic defense system. Instead of a centralized military command that could be decapitated by a strike on Tehran, they broke Iran's military into 31 independent provincial commands. When Allied strikes in early 2026 killed high-ranking figures, including Ali Khamenei, the West expected a collapse. Instead, under the mosaic doctrine, the loss of the central hub had 0 operational impact. Power automatically devolved to local commanders. The US realized that to stop the missiles, they would have to hunt down 31 separate underground provincial militaries embedded in rugged mountains. It would require a full-scale land invasion so unfeasible that it broke the Western political will. As Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi coolly noted, the mosaic defense allowed Iran to decide when and how the war will end.
President Trump has not ruled out boots on the ground in Iran. Are you afraid of a U.S. invasion in your country?
No, we are waiting for them.
You are waiting for the U.S. military to invade, the ground troops?
Yes, because we are confident that we can confront them and that would be a big disaster for them.
He said what he said. You know, Esau had to ask twice. Yeah, nigga, hey, take your ass over there. You'll see. Because Iran, you know, because we play chess. You know, Iran is so many moves ahead of America in this war. All right, they're just going to end up in the ground game, which we know. Okay, it's going to end in an attempted invasion, which is going to be a slaughter. Okay, it's going to be a slaughter for American troops, man. You know, and the Lord got it set up like that. That's why. Let's get some precepts. Well, I said it's a pretty good. I gotta start watching some more of his content. I just started watching this morning, but Spirit gave it to me this morning. But it's pretty good. It sums everything up, and even how Iran got to the point, you know, with this missile program. Okay, and in order to break up, in order to even attempt to stop Iran from having the ability to respond to any, all right, strikes on this territory, they will have to send boots in the ground, and they will have to hunt down these different, all right, what you call, you know, command centers. It's 31 different command centers, and how it works is, okay, when the commanders go to a meeting, and let's say 4 or 5 of them get assassinated. Well, whatever command center that they commanded, well, there's already a next in line, and he got his strike packages for the next 6 months or maybe the next year. So he already know what to strike for the next 6 months. So he knows that, look, if I don't come back, nigga, go ahead with the play. You got the strike packages, the coordinates, just hit the button. You see? So you got that happening with 31 different command centers. So the Americans and the small hats, you know, with their decapitation attempts, is unaffected because they got such a long, all right, chain of command, and everybody already know what to do. They don't even, it ain't nothing to talk about, but everybody know what to do. The strike packages is already in place. So killing 20 or 30 leaders doesn't do nothing for Iran's ability to wage war. You know? So America gonna walk into a trap, okay, that's gonna lead to the end of the American empire, the end of the elite's global ambition, okay, and the bringing in of Yahweh on the throne of David, man. Okay, that's the bigger picture of everything that we're seeing. You know, we go into the details, but ultimately, it's all leading to a bigger picture. You see, so let's go from there. Yeah, the no, the no huddle, man. Okay, everything will go. You know, everybody know the assignment. You know, everybody know the assignment. So let's go here, because we know that these devils, their last ditch effort is going to be a ground invasion, which is going to go terrible, man. Okay, absolutely terrible. You see? So when you go to the book of Joel, chapter 2, and verse 20, it said, "But I will remove far off from you the northern army," and that's the American military, "and will drive him into a land barren and desolate," and that's in the Saudi Arabia. Okay, that's where they're going to be staged at, in Saudi Arabia, with his face towards the East Sea, which is the Persian Gulf, you know, which the Euphrates runs into, all right, the Persian Gulf. Okay, so his face towards the Persian Gulf, and his hinder part toward the utmost sea, was the Red Sea going to be behind them, you know. So that's that geography between the Red Sea and the Persian Gulf, which is Saudi Arabia, man, that barren land. It says, "And his stink shall come up, and his savor shall come up, because he have done great things." Yeah, so this is a obliteration, man. His stink shall come up, them dead bodies. Okay, them gonna be dead bodies, man. Okay, this attempted invasion of Iran is gonna go horrific, man. And said, because he have done great things, yeah, because America is guilty of a lot of wickedness, man. Okay, and you put this American uniform on and go fight, guess what? You're guilty as well. You're trying to forward the wickedness of the elites. You're trying to forward the wickedness of Esau in this American military, all right, uniform, man. Okay, so now you're guilty, okay, of the wickedness of Esau, man. Okay, so now, man, we in some beautiful times. You see, we're in some beautiful times of watching, our power at work. As the scriptures say, let's get that in the book of Luke. You see, everything going exactly according to plan. Okay, Esau gotta get his shit together. Prophecy on point. You see, Esau got all the attacking shit going on. Okay, well, prophecy on point. See, Esau gotta get his shit together, man. Like I said, he ain't got no answer for that no huddle offense, man. Okay, Iran breaking the scoreboard on goddamn the American military, man. Okay, this is Luke 10:23 says, and he turned, it says, and he turned him unto his disciples and said privately, blessed are the eyes which see the things that ye see. And we're blessed to see these things, man. Remember, these are prophecies of thousands of years ago. All of them coming to pass right now. Like we always get into Ezekiel 38, it's happening now. Jeremiah 50:9 is happening now. Jeremiah, well, the 50th chapter, that whole chapter. Jeremiah 50, Jeremiah 51, the whole chapter is happening now. Jeremiah 49, them 3 chapters is happening right now. Okay? They were spoken thousands of years ago, but they're happening now. So blessed are our eyes to see these things happen, man, to see our power at work. Verse 24 says, for I tell you that many prophets and kings have desired to see those things which you see and have not seen them, and to hear those things which you hear and have not heard them, man. Okay, so what we're seeing and hearing in our day-to-day life, man, our forefathers desire to see these things, man. This is the last Edom, this is the last heathen rulership. Okay, that's why you go here in Luke. You see, let's go here to the book of Luke, chapter 21. Okay, Luke 21, and 24. It says, and they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations. So that goes us falling in 70 AD. Okay, and then, all right, us going into, we had to flee. A lot of our people got put to death in 70 AD. And a lot of our people fled into Africa. Okay, and this in the land of Africa, where the southern kingdom, okay, eventually will go into captivity to all nations. When you go into the sub-Saharan captivity, which took a lot of our people to the east, farther to the east, and then the transatlantic captivity, it took our people to the west. And eventually, Jake will be in captivity amongst all these nations, even looking like the other nations, man. Okay, but our people will be scattered, throughout the 4 winds of the world, according to prophecy. It says, in Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles, man. Okay, these, there was wars, what you go into the Crusades, there was Jake, under the banner of Christianity, trying to get back, Jerusalem, fighting with Islam. Okay, Ishmael. Okay, but then eventually you will have, Ishmael, in that land, then the Ottoman Turks, which was Edomite, all right, Muslims, and then eventually the small hats came in, and claimed to be us, and claimed to fulfill prophecy going back. But that's our land being trodden down of the Gentiles. It says, until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. Okay, so we're in the time where these heathens, these actual Gentiles is being fulfilled. And that's why everything is escalating. This MOT and war is escalating because that time is being fulfilled, man. You see, Esau's at the end. Okay, he's at the very end. All right. And like I said, he doesn't have many cards to play. And we know the cards that he got. We see Esau hand. You know, Esau can't keep the poker face. And, you know, no, it's not a shock at what this nigga's finna do. You know, we know what Esau's finna do. Okay? Because he can only do what prophecy said he's gonna do, man. Okay, so let's go here, Revelation 11 and 14 and 15. It says, the second woe is past. All right, this is Revelation 11 and 14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly, man. This third world war. You know, because any day, man, you can have an event that just keep taking this thing to the next phase and bringing in more nations. You know, and as the devil rolls out this MOTB, this war is going to escalate because they go together. You see, and this verse 15 it says, and the seven angels sounded, and there was great voices in heaven saying, the kingdom of this world are become the kingdoms of our Lord and of his anointed, and he shall reign forever and ever. Okay, so in the peak of this third world's war, Yahushua is going to enter the fray. Okay, and take down everybody. You know, as America is on fire, man, Yahushua is going to be destroying the militaries of the earth, man. You see, and the kingdoms of this world are going to become the kingdoms of our Lord Yahushua, okay, and of his anointing, he shall reign forever and ever, man. Okay, so there's a righteous kingdom that's going to be established forever. Yahushua is going to establish the throne of David. The tribes are going to be united as a remnant. You know, the first fruits, the governing body is going to be established forever. Okay, so we're watching the build up to that happening, man. You see, so yep, you get this one. Yep. Oh man, it's one of my favorite precepts. You see, it's one of my favorite precepts. So yeah, let's read this to beloved brother Elazar. Yahushua is coming back soon. 1 Corinthians 15 and 24. Then cometh the end. We're here. This the brawl for it all. Just the battle for it all. And these nations, and see, that's also a driving force behind, you know, this war, is that these nations have their own ambition. China has this ambition. Russia has this ambition. They agree on the system, the technocracy, okay? But they all have their ambition within this new system. You see? So it's a brawl for it all. But guess what? We know who prevails, man. You see? And that's Yahushua. Okay? It says, then cometh the end when he shall have delivered up the kingdom to the Most High, even the Father, when he shall have put down all rule and authority and power, man. Yahushua is coming to put down all heathen rule, authority, and power, man. You know, he's going to take that power into himself. All right, he's going to conquer the earth in righteousness in the name and authority of his father Yahweh. Okay, and he has the authority to redistribute the power and authority in the earth to what his brethren, beginning with the first fruit, man. Okay, so this is what we're watching, man. And just like the beloved elder Kazak went into the other day, man, how Shai's finna redefine reality, man. You know, we ain't started to live yet, man. Okay, we got everything to look forward to. So yeah, I'll leave it there. You know, Lord will. All right, you brothers. All right, and you few sisters edified once again. I want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his young brothers. And peace and blessings, salutation, and hopeful. Shalom.